story, and it's called Mind the Gap. And I leave you to actually say why it's called Mind the Gap. For those of you who don't know, I mean, if you go to the UK and you take the tube, you take the underground in London town, there's a baritone voice that says, Mind the Gap, when you're getting off. And of course we have our own version of it in Mumbai metros. But this is basically the gap between the platform and the train. Yeah.
Yes, we can have hundreds of stories of anecdotes of London and Mumbai trains forever and ever. The Mind the Gap story is actually about gender parity, Rishi. So today we have a story which is essentially a report from the World Economic Forum, which did a survey of how gender parity is looked at in various countries around the world. First, the bad news, and then I'll give you the worst news. The bad news is that India is ranked 112 in the world in terms of gender parity. So between men and women, parity is looked at on different parameters. So this is education, healthcare, work environment, economy, all of that. So just about every aspect of your daily life, we look at parity. And the best country, of course, no surprises there, are the Scandinavian countries. Yeah. So Iceland has been ranked number 1 for the 11th year running, where there is actual gender parity. Finland, Sweden, all the Western European and Scandinavian countries which are known for gender parity have now risen to the top, and not surprisingly they are at the top for the last decade or so. Now India is now 112. It has actually slipped 4 places. It was 108 last year. It is now 112, which is not a easy thing to digest. Partly because it's true. So the next part of the worst news actually is that it's going to take 257 years more for the entire world to get to equal the parity amongst genders. Now again, these are all various parameters, like I mentioned earlier: healthcare, access to education, access to little things like toilets, access to the same kind of facilities that men get. So that kind of parity in terms of politics, economics, finance, environment, career, all of that will take 257 years more. So that's not an easy thing to hear, but that's how it is. I mean, India has especially been challenging because, one, a huge amount of female feticide in the country. So gender parity in terms of sex ratio in the census also has been going down or has remained constant. We are somewhere near 912 or 913 women to every 1,000 men. So the World Economic Forum does that annually. So last year, like I pointed out, India was 108. Today we are 112.
Well, that's the story in morning glory, like the Oasis, the Gallagher brothers would say. We're going to come back and have one last leg of conversation with Sachin. It's 42 minutes past 10 a.m. My name is Hrishi K. See you in a bit.